Ordering fractions is simply using our skill of comparing fractions, but what makes it more difficult is that we are comparing multiple fractions at once, and it can be a little bit overwhelming if we don't approach it in an appropriate way. Using a simple chart that we divide into three sections of less than a half, equal to 1/2, and more than 1/2 can really help reduce the work and the stress that comes with ordering fractions. So I can see that 2/3 is more than 1/2, 1/4 is less than 1/2, and 6/20 is also less than 1/2. So to order these three fractions, I already know that 2/3 is my largest fraction. I don't need to use any of my comparing skills to solve the rest of this. Now all I need to do is compare 1/4 and 6/20 to see which fraction is larger. If you haven't already learned about comparing fractions with me, stop this video and go to comparing fractions. If you're following along now, pause the video so that you can compare 1/4 and 6/20 on your own and come back when you do so. I'm going to use multiplication to find a common denominator here. And I can see I have 5/20 compared to 6/20. 6/20 is larger, so I know 6/20 is my middle fraction. And I'm not going to use 5/20. That's not the fraction I was given. It's 1/4 is the smallest fraction. So you can see that by doing this chart, we're only forced to compare two fractions together instead of comparing all three at the same time. Here I have four fractions that I need to order. I want you to try to do the first part on your own. Always, when we're ordering fractions, start with your chart. Once you've completed your chart, come back to the video. I am now going to organize these fractions into the chart, so if you haven't done so, pause the video. 3/8 is less than half because 4/8 would be equal to half. 8/10 is more because 5/10 would be half. 3/5 is more than 5 because 3 sections would be shaded in while 2 are not. And 1/3 is less than half. So here I am not prepared to answer my question of organizing my four fractions in order. However, I have much less comparing to do. There is no reason for me to compare 3/8 to 8/10. I already did. 3/8 is less, 8/10 is more than half, so it is larger. I only need to compare 3/8 and 1/3 and 8/10 and 3/5. So go ahead and pause the video again and compare our fractions we need to compare and try to write all four in order. I'm now going to start comparing, so if you have not done so, pause the video. Starting with 3/8 and 1/3, I'm going to use my trick that always works, multiplying by the opposite denominator. Oops, excuse me. Made a small mistake. Should be 8 times 3 for the opposite denominator. That's what happens when you rush. So I have 9/24 and 8/24. So I can now see that 1/3 is my smallest fraction. 3/8 is my next smallest fraction. I am now ready to compare my two other fractions. Now you can see I'm moving these over because it's important that you don't erase any work. All of the work I'm doing is important to have shown so that you can see exactly how you are finding the answers. And that's purposely why I did all of that in the video, because I don't want you to erase your work. That's the worst mistake we can make. So here I can reduce my work greatly. I don't need to change both fractions. I know that 8 and 10 can both be divided by 2 to give me 4/5, and I will simply keep 3/5 the same. So I know that 3/5 is next, and 8/10 is my largest. Please remember that you need to write the original fractions in your answer. Don't use other fractions you're finding. We need the original fractions in the answer. So hopefully you have another practice sheet that you can practice more of these problems on your own. Start with your chart and then use your comparing fraction skills.